Hi guys, my name is Trinity, and if you are here, you must be here to talk about books because that's why I'm here. And today we are going to be doing my mid-month wrap up for the Olympic Readathon. I am super pumped to announce that I have read 7 books so far. I am on my 8th book. So far, I have garnered my team 410 points. Yay! I have been pumped for this readathon, and I have been pumped for the books that I have been reading, because a lot of these are series that I've been meaning to get to. They're follow-ups to series that I need to complete, and they're just books that have been on my radar for some time. So I did talk about 2 in a previous video, so I'm just going to briefly mention them. But the first book that I read for the Olympic Readathon would be The Forgetting Moon by Brian Lee Durfee. I absolutely loved it. I did have a few issues with it, which I do talk about in the wrap-up where I talked about this book, but I have a feeling this might actually be one of my new favorite series. I do still need to read the second book to determine that, but very, very good. And I read that for the Artemis prompt, which actually garnered my team double points. And because that book is so big, that book alone was 140 of the 410 points I've garnered for my team. So the next one that I completed would be the prompt for Zeus. And I read Shadows of Self by Brandon Sanderson. And I am not into the whole Wax and Wane story. I am reading this for a read-along, Sanderson read-along, reading through the Cosmere. I will link the Discord for it down below if you guys want to join us. But the Wax and Wane story is just not my thing. I think I landed at a 3.5 for this. I do like the ties to Mistborn. I am enjoying that. But I just think this is a series that's not for me, and that's fine. So for the Aries prompt, I needed to pick a book that was military-centered fantasy or sci-fi. And as you guys know, I have been reading Red Rising, the Red Rising trilogy. And what is more fitting for Aries than the Sons of Aries themselves? And so I finally finished Morning Star. I thought this was a fantastic ending to the trilogy. And I just want to continue to sing this book's praises. I do understand the hype now that I've finally read the trilogy, and I am excited to continue. I don't want to talk about this book too much because it is the final book in a completed trilogy that there would be too many spoilers that I could get into with this book, but just know this series wraps up really well. I'm excited for the continuation. Very, very good. So the next prompt that I fulfilled would be Hephaestus, and that would have been a book with flames or fire in the title or on the cover. And I chose Fireborn by Rosaria Munda. Now this is a book that has seen a lot of love on BookTube. And so I was eager to pick it up. However, it's young adult, so I was a little anxious, a little hesitant. I do read young adult, but young adult political intrigue. So I didn't know how well it would be presented. I loved this book, and I'm very, very excited to continue with Flamefall. I also really liked the characters in this book, and these are characters who go through a lot of trauma, but they don't dwell on the trauma too much. They're actually really good figureheads for this type of political fantasy, and so I was very excited to delve into the story. You see dragons on the cover of this book. I am happy to tell you there are dragons in the book. They are very predominantly featured as the two main characters are dragon riders. So it was very, very fun, very political heavy, but I enjoyed it so much, so much. I think I gave this 4.5 stars. I'm pretty sure I gave this 4.5 stars. But I'm so excited to pick up Flamefall. Now, this one, I fulfilled the Hades prompt with this one, ghosts as a central theme to the book. And I loved this book so much. Loved it. I did not, however, give it a 5-star because there were some elements that I thought weren't quite as well done as others. But, you know, I just want to say, even though this is rated a 4-star on my Goodreads, I loved it. And it is one that I have been so excited to get to for a very long time because I heard it was creepy. Now, this is a gothic tale set in a very seaside location. You know that this is a 12 Dancing Princesses retelling, and oh, it was so fantastic. The way the story unraveled was very, very well written. The creep factor is brought in this book. Now, it didn't scare me. If you guys know me, you know I am not scared easily at all. But I had moments in this book where I was like, ugh! And some of it was like a gross factor. Some of it was a, oh no, what's going to happen now type factor, or oh no, what's going on type factor. It wasn't boo-ah scary. So I want you to know that this is creepy, not necessarily scary. Very, very atmospheric, great main character that we follow. All of the horror elements of this book were really, really well done. And I'm actually really excited to see what else Aaron Craig writes because I'm sold. I'm so sold on whatever comes next. Now, I said that one might be my favorite that I've read so far because of the fact that I love creepy things, and that was really creepy. However, this book has surprised me. And I fulfilled the Hermes prompt with this book, and that is a book featuring travel, vacation, quest, those kinds of things, and The Vagrant by Peter Newman. Now, I gave this book 5 stars. So I think this is the only 5-star of the pile, but I was so entranced by the way this book is written. What we are dealing with is a world that has been destroyed by the introduction of demons to the world. And we have people who are trying to survive. We have people who are siding with the demons. So many things are going on in this book. However, this is told in a very fairy tale-esque kind of writing style, and I really loved it. I loved it so much. And The Vagrant, that is the only name given to a character in the beginning, and he walks around not named for most of the book. And if you guys can see, he's carrying a baby. And so while he is living this wander warrior life, he's also trying to care for a little baby. And the baby is fantastic. The baby has character, is a very well-developed character. The Vagrant is a very well-developed character. There is another character in here, but I don't want to mention who it is because spoilers, but I kind of fell for most of the characters in this book. I thought they were very well done. While we are on a adventure quest, traveling through most of this book, it doesn't fall into that trap of repetition too often where, you know, we're walking, we're walking, we're walking. The one thing that comes to mind would be Eye of the World. We're not doing that. And so I thought that it was really well paced. I have heard a couple people say that the middle was kind of slow for them. I did not feel that way. I was intrigued by every aspect of this novel, and I love this book. I really love this book, and I can see this creeping into my favorite series as well. I'm very excited to pick up the rest of the trilogy. And yeah, guys, read The Vagrant. I think that this is the highest rated book on this, even though I can't say it was a favorite because the other had more elements that I liked about it and that just spoke to me personally. But this is fantastic, guys. Fantastic. Okay, and the one that I just finished is the one that I chose for the Poseidon prompt, and that would be a book set on or near water. And if you guys have read All the Stars and Teeth, you know that it is a very seafaring adventure, and All the Tides of Fate is the same way. I can't hardly talk about this book without spoilers because of the way the last book ended. Now, this book came in at a 3.5 for me. I liked it. I actually really liked it. The only thing that I can say that brought the rating of this book from a 4 to a 3.5 is there are certain things that happened in the first book that our character dwells on a little too much, which brings the overall feel of the book down, in my opinion. And we focus on it a little too much. There is a character, I'm trying to think of ways to say this without giving spoilers. There is too much focus on a particular element of the relationship that developed in the first book. In this book, that really threw me and made this a lot more angsty than it needed to be, but it was still good. It was still fun. It was what I wanted it to be, so 3.5, I'm not disappointed. And, you know, it's just a good time. A young adult with a good time. So those are the books that I've read thus far. Oh, wait, I forgot one. The book that I read for a book with a beautiful cover. I started out with The City of Brass by S.A. Chakraborty. I had to temporarily DNF The City of Brass, not because I wasn't liking it, but because it was so slow paced that I had a hard time getting into it. And for a readathon, I felt like I was asking a little too much of myself in investing in that book for a readathon. So I set it aside and I chose to instead listen to Dark Dawn by J. Kristoff, which is a series that I had planned to finish this year, and now I have. I have to say, Nevernight is one of my favorite fantasy series of all time. I love Mia. I love the relationships that are built in the story. I absolutely love J. Kristoff's writing. Now, me having the issues that I do, dyslexia and ADHD, I do have to listen to J. Kristoff's books. I can't just physically read them. And that has to do with his non-linear timelines and the footnotes and all that stuff. I actually have to listen to them. And luckily, the narrator for the series is actually quite great. So I am saved by the fact that the narrator is fantastic, and I absolutely love these. And the reason that I don't own physical copies is because I am dead set on owning the UK versions of these books. So I have to set some money aside to purchase Nevernight in the UK versions because they're so gorgeous. And that is also the reason I chose this for the Aphrodite prompt of a beautiful cover. It was based on the UK book, which, since that's the one I plan to purchase, then There you go. So for the book that I am currently reading, because you know I'm trying to focus on one for the Readathon, it is the Hestia prompt, which would be Found Family, and I'm reading European Travel for the Monstrous Gentlewoman by Theodora Goss. This is the second book to the Strange Case of the Alchemist's Daughter. And I'm very, very excited for this. I haven't really gotten that far into it, just a few pages. So I can't actually give thoughts on this book just yet, but I am very, very excited to continue this series as well. All right, that is it for me today. Like, subscribe, do all the fun things. And if you guys want to talk about books with us, I will also link the Shelf Space Discord in my description down below. Bye!